Glory to Jesus Christ. Welcome back to another episode of City of Desert. And once again, we are picking up with our reading from the first volume of the Philokalia and the writings and the sayings of Evagrius of Pontus. We've been reading him for quite a while now, and we are starting a new series. We had been reading his writings on discrimination or discernment about our thoughts. We are now reading his extracts on text on watchfulness. So, watchfulness of heart, how we form and foster this virtue in order to guard the heart, to protect the heart from the provocation of the evil one. And so today we are on page 53 of volume 1 of the Philokalia, and we are looking at number 1, saying number 1 under, again, extracts from the text on watchfulness. Evagrius writes, "A monk should always act as if he was going to die tomorrow, yet he should treat his body as if it was going to live for many years. The first cuts off the inclination to listlessness and makes the monk more diligent. The second keeps his body sound and his self-control well balanced." This is a wonderful little saying from Evagrius and essential as we read through the Philokalia and as we read the writings of the great ascetics. They are often presented to us as being extreme or falling into extremes in regards to their ascetic practices, whether it be fasting or vigils. And what we are taught here is something quite different. We see the wisdom that must guide and direct us in the ascetic life. And so Evagrius begins by telling us that we should act always as if we are going to die tomorrow. The remembrance of death keeps us from falling, he tells us, into listlessness, into spiritual boredom, that then leads us into neglect of spiritual things. If we keep in mind constantly our vulnerability, our fragility as human beings, that we are mortal and that our life in this world is very brief, then it allows us then with zeal to continue to move forward on a day-to-day basis without losing that fervor for the things of the kingdom. And yet he goes on to tell us you should treat the body as if it was going to live for many years. And so the ascetic, while maintaining that fervor and zeal, must make sure that it remains balanced, that we can fall into a kind of false enthusiasm, false zeal that leads then to extremes in the ascetic practices. So extremes of fasting can certainly lead us into pride or vainglory, but they can also wound the body. An individual can become sick, weakened so much that he cannot fulfill his other spiritual disciplines. He cannot fulfill his role of prayer, or he wounds the body in such a way that it no longer can act as his aid in the spiritual life. And so if a person fasts to extreme, and he weakens the body so much that he becomes sick and can no longer fast or can no longer arise at night to keep vigil, to pray during the night, then he's hobbled himself in the spiritual life through this lack of wisdom. And so there is a fundamental balance, the avoidance of extremes that the fathers constantly draw us back to, that asceticism, the exercise of the faith, is necessary for us in terms of our growth spiritually and also our gratitude to God for the grace that he bestows on us from moment to moment and within the sacraments. We cannot be lazy in embracing and making use of the gifts that God has given to us, but we have to be wise in the exercise of them so as not to wound ourselves. Brilliant teaching with which to begin this new section on watchfulness of heart. Often when there is an enlivening of faith that takes place, in a person's life. Zeal can grow, which is good. But if it is not measured by wisdom, the wisdom of the fathers, we can end up harming ourselves spiritually and physically. And so let us pray today simply for the gift of wisdom, that as we take up this new section of Evagrius on watchfulness, that we would not only guard our hearts, but we would seek to enact in accord with the wisdom of our God and the wisdom of the fathers. Thank you, and God bless you, and have a wonderful day.